gentlemen.
Don't we get to look before we buy?
Kids, you can look all you want.
The number one problem in Hollywood was and is and always will be. That's the biggest problem for children.
I lived with an alcoholic parent, and I was an only child with her. My father had a whole other family, and I was very close to them, but that shaped me. And then I just thought, you know what, it was my turn to tell my version and my truth, good and bad.
I was a real wild child, and I just got so out of control that no one knew what to do with me.
Hollywood has a dark history of exploiting young actors, and when they speak out, they often pay the price. Drew Barrymore was just 13 when she ended up in rehab after being thrown into fame too soon.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm Drew Barrymore.
Relax, kid, you're gonna be just fine tonight.
Hey, come on, can I get you a glass of milk, honey?
Milk? I'm a Barrymore. Get me a drink and make it a double.
Corey Feldman has spent years exposing disturbing secrets about the industry.
It was beyond my control.
Sure.
That said, we are planning on making a film of that same story.
And Brooke Shields? She was on screen before she was even a grown-up.
Hey, how do we know she is a virgin?
Have I ever lied to you before? Satisfaction guaranteed.
Here are 20 times child actors revealed Hollywood's dark side, only to be punished for telling the truth. Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman has spent years exposing Hollywood's darkest secrets. He's spoken out about how powerful figures prey on young actors, revealing that he and his late friend Corey Haim were both victims. Feldman wrote about his own experience growing up as a young actor in 1980s Hollywood, and particularly about the essay both he and Corey Haim allegedly suffered as a result.
I'll go you one better. You let me get around in my life, man, so to speak.
In Corey Feldman's autobiography, Choreography, Feldman claimed that he had been M for years by older men working in the entertainment industry. He also wrote that Corey Haim approached him with similar stories early on in their friendship, and that this mutual trauma formed a strong bond between them. Feldman later spoke to People magazine about the A, but stated that he would not name names so as to protect Haim's mother from any more pain. Feldman later released a documentary film titled My Truth, The R of Two Coreys, in which he further detailed the essay he and Haim allegedly faced. The documentary chronicled Feldman's long journey to shed light on the he claimed child actors endured at the hands of the entertainment industry. Feldman also explained at the premiere that the film was his way of honoring a promise he made to his former co-star and late best friend Corey Haim to tell his story.
That's why I say media blackout, because all the mainstream media has prevented me from coming forth and talking about this story.
Corey Haim. Corey Haim was once a rising teen idol, but behind the scenes, he lived a nightmare. In fact, Corey Feldman has long claimed that Corey Haim's tragic death wasn't accidental. For years, he's fought to expose the sinister figures in Hollywood who prey on young stars. But his shocking statements about Charlie Sheen and others raise more questions than answers. It all started with a meteoric rise. Corey Haim and Corey Feldman, two of the biggest teen stars of the 80s, were known as the Two Coreys. Together, they starred in blockbuster hits like The Lost Boys and became symbols of Hollywood success.
Corey Haim, come here for a second. He's in the movie with me. This is Corey Haim. He was in Lost Boys, and he was in the movie License to Drive, which is coming out in August, and we're doing that movie together too. Yep.
But behind the fame, Corey Haim was battling a silent nightmare. While Feldman managed to stay in the limelight, Haim's life was spiraling out of control. His struggles with substance abuse were well documented, but few knew the deeper demons that haunted him. According to Corey Feldman, these demons weren't just personal struggles. They were the result of Hollywood predators.
I can tell you that the number one problem in Hollywood was and is and always will be. That's the biggest problem for children in this industry.
In 2011, Corey Haim's life came to a tragic end. His death was ruled as pneumonia, but Feldman insists that Hollywood itself was responsible for orchestrating Haim's demise. Judy Garland. Judy Garland's life off-screen was far from the fairy tale it appeared to be in The Wizard of Oz. At just 13 years old, she signed with MGM, where the studio controlled almost every aspect of her life. To keep her weight in check and to manage the exhausting work schedule, they gave her amphetamines. MGM pushed Judy to maintain a youthful look, which involved strict dieting and even binding her chest. Tragically, Judy's mother seemed to go along with the treatment, letting the studio put her daughter through physical and emotional harm. One of the most disturbing figures in her story was Louis Mayer, the head of MGM. He gave Judy the nickname Little Hunchback and tried to make her believe it was normal. Mayer would tell Judy her singing was beautiful, then inappropriately touch her chest, claiming he was like a father figure to her. Judy, so young at the time, didn't know how to react, but as an adult, she eventually told him, "Don't ever do that again." Mayer dismissed her concerns, acting like she was being ridiculous and playing the father figure card. It's heartbreaking how she was manipulated by those she trusted. Drew Barrymore. Drew Barrymore was just 7 years old when E.T. made her famous. But the Hollywood lifestyle quickly turned toxic. At an age where most girls are playing with Barbie dolls or picking out colors for their braces and haven't even gotten their first period, Drew Barrymore was getting into drugs.
I didn't want to go off and play Barbies. I wanted to go out to a club and dance.
Did you ever stop and think, none of this would be happening to me if I weren't a Barrymore?
People revealed that she had already been smoking cigarettes for about a year when she first picked up weed at the age of 10 and a half. At the age of 12, Barrymore was nurturing a habit. By the time she was 13, she had undergone extensive drug rehabilitation treatment twice, according to People. Today, the actress doesn't touch the stuff. On Netflix's Norm Macdonald Has a Show, the Santa Clarita Diet star revealed that nothing would make her have a panic attack and seem like a bigger nightmare than. In a 1989 People cover story, things were looking up for Drew Barrymore, who had just left drug treatment. Unfortunately, the actress had yet to reach rock bottom, but it didn't take long. By the time her 1990 cover story was published, she'd broken her sobriety, and tabloids were swirling with rumors of an attempted. Things started unraveling when Barrymore celebrated 6 months of sobriety by smoking a joint with her friend. The night ended in a car accident where she cracked her head against the window, but miraculously walked away unscathed. The guilt began to eat at the actress, and her relationship with her mother deteriorated. She moved out, her depression got worse, and then her estranged father, who she hadn't seen in 8 years, called her begging for money. Finding out her friends were mad at her was the final straw. Drew Barrymore's mother institutionalized her following the cutting incident. According to E! News, the then 13-year-old actress spent 18 months in the facility, a long stay that was vastly needed, however much she would have resisted going if given the chance. Barrymore told The Guardian that her mother didn't even tell her she was being committed, or she would have run away. Despite the odds, she managed to overcome her demons.
It was so upsetting at first, but over the course of that year and a half, I left there like the most humble person you could ever imagine.
Her journey wasn't linear. Even after achieving sobriety as a teenager, Drew relapsed following her divorce in 2016. But today, she's proudly living a life free from alcohol and drugs, crediting her children and career as her anchors. Macaulay Culkin.
I took a shower washing every body part with actual soap, including all my major crevices, including in between my toes and in my belly.
At the height of Home Alone's success, Macaulay Culkin was one of the most famous kids in the world. But behind the scenes, his father, Kit Culkin, allegedly controlled his life, emotionally and physically abusing him. In a 2001 interview with New York Magazine, Macaulay admitted, "My father was always but it didn't get really bad until later on." He recalled times when his dad mistreated him, including when he was just 13 and exhausted from filming The Good Son. Even though Kit initially agreed to give him a break, Macaulay soon found himself working on another movie without any rest. That's when he realized, there's nothing I can do to make this stop. Macaulay also shared that despite making huge amounts of money, his dad forced him to sleep on a couch just to show who was in control. "If he didn't want you to sleep in a bed, you weren't sleeping in a bed," he said. The abuse wasn't just emotional. Macaulay claimed his dad physically hurt him, his siblings, and their mom. "He beat our spirits down," he said. In 2018, he doubled down on these claims during an interview on the WTF with Marc Maron podcast, calling his dad a bad man and saying, "He was physically and mentally. I could show you all my scars."
He was a bad man. He was and like physically and mentally, I can show you all my scars if you want.
When Macaulay was 15, his parents split, and his mom, Patricia Brentrup, fought for custody, which also meant control over his trust fund. At 16, Macaulay realized how much money he had and decided to take control of his finances to help his struggling mom. "I had millions in the bank, but my mom couldn't pay rent because she was spending everything on lawyers," he explained. "The only way to access my money was to remove my dad's name from it. To keep things simple, I took both their names off." After that, Kit didn't even show up to the final custody hearing. Macaulay hasn't seen or spoken to him since. Jennette McCurdy.
On the outside, I was doing a lot of the performing, the tap dancing of like the smile and the showing up and landing on my mark, and I'm gonna just do what I need to do and be this, happy-go-lucky Nickelodeon kid.
My name is Samantha Puckett. I'm from Seattle and I love fried chicken.
Jennette McCurdy has been very open in recent years about her difficult experiences at Nickelodeon. She even wrote a memoir titled "I'm Glad My Mom Died," where she shared shocking details about how both the industry and her own mother exploited her for money and mistreated her. For starters, Jennette's book reveals that she had a rough childhood, mainly due to her complicated relationship with her mother, Deborah McCurdy, who passed away in 2013. Jennette describes how her mom took control of her appearance at an early age, bleaching her hair and whitening her teeth when she was just 10 years old. By 11, Deborah was forcing her to restrict calories, which led to a long struggle with an eating disorder. On top of that, Deborah pushed Jennette into acting from a young age. When Jennette reluctantly landed the role of Sam Puckett on iCarly at 15, her mom was thrilled. But while Sam was funny and confident on screen, Jennette's real life was anything but enjoyable. In her memoir, Jennette talks about an unnamed person she calls the Creator. Many believe she's referring to Dan Schneider, the man behind iCarly, Victorious, and Sam and Cat. In 2021, the New York Times reported that Schneider had been accused of verbal but no evidence of SA was found. However, Jennette claims in her book that the Creator was investigated by Nickelodeon due to accusations of emotional. She also shares disturbing moments with this figure, including how he allegedly gave her alcohol when she was underage. She remembers him pressuring her to take a sip, saying it would give her an edge. When she declined, he insisted that the cast of Victorious drank together, making it seem like iCarly actors needed to do the same to keep up. Jennette also felt uncomfortable with how she was being on the show. She recalls being photographed in a bikini during a wardrobe fitting and feeling uneasy about how her body was perceived. Another disturbing moment involved the Creator giving her an unsolicited shoulder massage, which started with a simple pat but quickly became uncomfortable. Even her first on-screen kiss with co-star Nathan Kress was traumatic. The Creator directed the scene and kept pushing her to do more, even though she felt extremely uncomfortable. She remembers feeling frozen, her mind racing, and just wanting the moment to be over. She admits that she didn't want her first kiss to happen on a TV set and struggled with suppressing her emotions because her mother never encouraged her to explore romance. Amanda Bynes.
I spent any money today? She'd brush my teeth with a fish stick!
Thanks, Steven. I'll have Mr. Wolf return.
I'll choose some people from the audience. They can pick whatever they want to see, okay?
Amanda Bynes was once Nickelodeon's golden girl, but her story took a dark turn. She was discovered by Dan Schneider at a comedy camp, which led to her breakout roles in All That and The Amanda Show. While she was seen as one of Nickelodeon's biggest stars, recent revelations have raised troubling questions about what really went on behind the scenes. The documentary Quiet on Set shed light on Schneider's alleged toxic work environment, including inappropriate behavior and favoritism. Reports suggest Bynes and Schneider had an unusually close relationship with late-night work sessions and his deep involvement in her personal decisions, going as far as supporting her attempt to emancipate from her parents as a teenager. This level of control has sparked debate over the role Schneider played in her life beyond the cameras. As Bynes moved on from Nickelodeon, she struggled with public breakdowns, erratic behavior, and mental health issues. Many believe the pressure and trauma from her early years in Hollywood contributed to her struggles. She was eventually placed under a conservatorship, much like Britney Spears, raising concerns about whether she was ever truly free from the industry's grip. Despite attempts at a comeback, her career and personal life have remained complicated, leaving fans wondering just how much of her downfall was connected to her time at Nickelodeon. Brooke Shields. Brooke Shields was born into a world where her beauty was her most valuable asset. At least that's what her mother believed. Terry Shields, a single mother and aspiring actress, saw in Brooke a ticket to the life she always wanted. From the moment Brooke was born, Terry's plan was set in motion. Brooke's career began almost as soon as she could walk. Modeling jobs followed, and soon she was the face of major brands. But it wasn't long before Terry's ambitions took a darker turn.
I was a baby model, then I was a child model, and I did catalogs and clothing ads and shampoo ads. Whatever I got cast in.
When Brooke was just 12 years old, she was cast in the role that would define her early career, a young escort in Pretty Baby. Directed by Louis Malle, the film was intended to be a critical look at child exploitation. But for Brooke, it was more than just a role. It was her reality. Critics praised the film, but many were horrified by the S-sualization of a young girl. Brooke appeared unclothed in the movie, sparking outrage and debate about the ethics of such a portrayal. But for Terry Shields, it was all part of the plan. She believed this role would catapult Brooke to stardom, and in many ways, it did. But at what cost? The role in Pretty Baby opened doors for Brooke, but it also set a disturbing precedent. Brooke was no longer just a child actress. She was a commodity, marketed for her beauty and appeal, even though she was barely a teenager. Following Pretty Baby, Brooke's career continued to soar, but the roles she was offered only became more provocative. In The Blue Lagoon, she portrayed a teenage girl stranded on an island, exploring themes of S and adolescence. The film was another hit, but it further cemented Brooke's image as a S-sualized child star. Brooke later revealed that she had to wear a body double for some of the more explicit scenes, as she was still underage. But the damage was done. The world now saw Brooke Shields as a symbol of youthful S, a role she never asked for, but was forced to play. Ricky Garcia.
I'm like all those excited for life. I totally feel like I'm like all about for everything, I'm really happy about life.
In 2019, Ricky Garcia, a former Disney star from Best Friends Whenever, filed a lawsuit against his ex-manager, Joby Hart of Hot Rock Media, accusing him of years of SA. According to the lawsuit, which was filed in Los Angeles and obtained by USA Today, the started when Garcia was just 12 years old. The suit also named 4 entertainment companies and 4 other individuals. Garcia claimed that Hart first groomed him by having inappropriate conversations about. Over time, Hart allegedly gave him alcohol, undressed him, and SA'd him. By the time Garcia was 16, the lawsuit stated that the abuse was happening almost every week. The lawsuit also accused Hart of abusing Garcia dozens of times over the years and grooming him into becoming a personal S plaything for Hart and his associates. Elijah Wood. Elijah Wood is best known for playing Frodo in The Lord of the Rings, but beyond his successful acting career, he's also spoken out about the darker side of Hollywood. In an interview with the Sunday Times, he opened up about the disturbing reality of in the industry. He didn't hold back, saying, "There are a lot of vipers in this industry, people who only care about themselves." He pointed out the sad truth that victims often don't have the power to speak out as loudly as the people hurting them. He described it as a heartbreaking cycle where innocent people get taken advantage of and their lives are destroyed. Wood explained that young actors, especially those eager to make it big and unfamiliar with the industry's dark side, can easily become targets for P-daters. He said he was lucky because his mother, Deborah, protected him from those dangers when he was a child actor. But even as an adult, he admitted that he's come across some dark situations, making him believe these awful things are still happening in Hollywood. Alison Arngrim.
Country girls don't even know what a blackboard is. Nellie.
Alison Arngrim, who played the spoiled and mean Nellie Olson on Little House on the Prairie, once said there was a reason she played the role so convincingly. She was a victim of childhood SA. Arngrim was just 11 years old when she landed the role of the girl everyone loved to hate. She later admitted that being able to channel her anger through the character may have helped her cope. When you grow up with you have a lot of built-up rage, and playing Nellie gave me a place to let it out, she said. It actually helped me more than I can even explain. Evan Rachel Wood. Evan Rachel Wood rose to fame as a talented young actress, starring in films like 13 and HBO's Westworld. But behind the scenes, she endured years of trauma that she later revealed to the public. In a 2022 interview on the Navigating Narcissism podcast, Wood opened up about the physical abuse, SA, and emotional she said she suffered during her relationship with her ex-fiancé, Marilyn Manson, born Brian Warner. She explained why it took her so long to process what had happened, revealing that before the #MeToo movement gained momentum in 2017, the stress and emotional toll became so overwhelming that she started having stress-induced seizures. When I realized how much of a physical impact this was having on me, to the point where it was making it nearly impossible to live my life normally and feel safe, that was a breaking point for me, she said. Wood had spoken out before, but in this interview, she went into more detail about how the trauma affected her body and mind. She described the weight of it all as unbearable, making everyday life a struggle until she finally found the strength to confront it. Bella Thorne. Bella Thorne is best known for her role in the network's hit series, Shake It Up.
Hey, Cole, you have to play Zendaya's song. It's amazing. No, you have to pay Bella.
In a candid interview with Fox News back in February 2021, Bella Thorne, the former Disney star, didn't hold back about the challenges of being in the Disney spotlight. She highlighted the immense pressure placed on Disney's young talents to maintain an illusion of perfection. According to Bella, this unrealistic image cultivated by Disney might not be the healthiest approach, as it fails to portray the real world to young viewers. Instead, she stressed the importance of showcasing diversity and authenticity. Bella's insights into her Disney days extended even further during a December 2022 podcast interview titled High Low with Emrata. She recounted a time when her career at Disney almost took a drastic turn. At the tender age of 14, she faced potential termination from the network, all because she wore a two-piece swimsuit at the beach. A stylist added a body chain, and a fan took a snapshot, which caused an uproar. Bella recalled the online backlash, where she was labeled disgusting and called a little girl, putting Disney under pressure. While Disney ultimately chose to retain her, they insisted she wear more modest beach attire in the future. Adding to her Disney confessions, Bella unveiled yet another uncomfortable encounter during her time there. She revealed that a casting director once let her go because they perceived her innocent 10-year-old self as flirting. This left Bella grappling with self-blame, questioning her own actions. However, she eventually came to the realization that her innocence should never have been a cause for such misunderstanding. Shia LaBeouf.
That's it. Forget commitment. I'm done. Through. You can eat my bat!
Shia LaBeouf is a well-known actor who started his career as a child star on Disney Channel's Even Stevens. He grew up in Los Angeles in a tough household. His father struggled with addiction, and his parents had a rocky relationship. Despite these challenges, LaBeouf found success in Hollywood, later starring in blockbuster films like Transformers and Indiana Jones. But behind the scenes, things weren't easy for him. In 2019, LaBeouf opened up about having PTSD because of experiences he went through as a kid. He shared that growing up as the family's main source of income put a lot of pressure on him, especially with his dad's addiction issues. To process his past, he wrote Honey Boy, a movie based on his childhood. In the film, he plays a character inspired by his father, while another actor, Lucas Hedges, plays a version of young Shia. The story dives into his complicated relationship with his dad and the emotional struggles he faced growing up in the spotlight. While the movie is based on his life, he changed some details, like not directly mentioning Disney Channel, to create a little distance from real events. Ariel Winter.
Hey, Luke. Big day for you, huh?
Why?
Because you will get to meet your real mom.
What?
Ariel Winter, best known for playing Alex Dunphy on Modern Family, had a difficult childhood due to her mother's alleged. She accused her mother, Crystal Workman, of physical and emotional, including restricting her food, subjecting her to extreme from a young age, and making degrading comments about her weight. At 14, a Modern Family crew member reported the situation to Child Protective Services. This led to Winter being placed under the care of her older sister, Chanel Gray, who later became her legal guardian. In 2015, Winter was officially emancipated from her mother. Since then, she has focused on her mental health, openly discussing therapy, depression, and self-care. Aileen Quinn. Aileen Quinn became famous overnight when she starred as the title character in the 1982 movie Annie.
Of course, it's Annie. It's only a dream away.
While she hasn't spoken in detail about specific incidents, she has hinted at facing inappropriate behavior and mistreatment in Hollywood. She described working in the industry as tough and said it wasn't as glamorous as people think. After Annie, she stepped away from Hollywood and focused on education, later pursuing a career in theater and music instead of returning to mainstream acting. Tatum O'Neal.
Then if you ain't my pa, I want my $200. I want my $200.
Tatum O'Neal, the youngest person ever to win an Oscar for her role in Paper Moon, has spoken out about the abuse she suffered as a child. In her memoir, she detailed emotional and physical abuse at the hands of her father, actor Ryan O'Neal. She also struggled with drug addiction, which she partly attributed to the trauma she endured growing up. Her story is one of talent overshadowed by a troubled personal life, which she has continued to address in interviews and memoirs. Melissa Gilbert.
We have our own books.
Melissa Gilbert, who played Laura Ingalls on Little House on the Prairie, grew up in the spotlight, but she later revealed that being a young actress in Hollywood was far from safe. She shared that she was harassed and manipulated by industry figures from a young age. In her memoir, Prairie Tale, she described how she faced uncomfortable situations and pressure to maintain a certain image. She also struggled with personal challenges, including family issues and the pressures of fame, but has since become an advocate for protecting child actors. Jonathan Brandis. Jonathan Brandis was one of the biggest teen stars of the 90s, thanks to his role in Sequest DSV and films like The Never-Ending Story 2. However, as he got older, he struggled to find his place in Hollywood. Unlike some other child stars, he never publicly shared any experiences, but he did face the intense pressure that came with fame. When his career started to slow down, Brandis became deeply depressed. In 2003, at just 27 years old, he died by His tragic death served as a wake-up call about the mental health struggles many former child stars face, especially when the industry moves on without them. In any case, each of these child actors had one thing in common. They tried to expose Hollywood's dark secrets and paid for it. Some were blacklisted. Others were left struggling with addiction, trauma, or even lost their lives. But with more actors speaking up, could Hollywood finally be forced to change, or will it continue to silence its victims? Only time will tell anyway. That's it for this video, folks. Bye.